Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 3 of the NFL season and predictions for all 16 games of week 3. Before diving into it, I want to quickly say if you are new, subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. Leave a like and comment down below your thoughts for the week, and now let's get right into it. Thursday night football, the Miami Dolphins are traveling to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 11.5 point favorites in this one, and Buffalo is the clear favorite. They are the better team, plain and simple. Miami has not won in Buffalo since 2016. Tua has not won in Buffalo at all throughout his entire career. The Bills are the clear better team. No doubt about it. They've had two really good wins this season. Miami's had two really bad losses this season. So, to no one's surprise, the Bills are the correct choice in this. But I am still picking Miami as the official prediction because I am a Dolphin fan. I'd rather see them win than anything. But even though a Miami loss will most likely bring in a new era of this team, as there's going to be people that go afterwards, I'm still picking Miami to win. I'll still be rooting for them during the game. But at the end of the day, Buffalo is the clear option here. So anyone that's using these for some reason to base bets on anything on, Buffalo is the Buffalo money line 100%. But I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm a little bit crazy. Give me the Miami Dolphins in this game. With that out of the way, let's go to Sunday with the Green Bay Packers at 8.5 point favorites are traveling to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns offense has been rough to begin this season, and not a lot of people, including myself, are surprised by that. Even with Joe Flacco leading the way, it's just been a rough start to this year. Cleveland is clearly in a really odd situation as a team, and it's not getting easier this week hosting the Green Bay Packers, who are one of the better teams in the league. Their offense is a really good offense. It's not like a 100% perfect offense. They have things that I have issues with, but I still really like their offense, and I feel like those issues are going to be ironed out throughout the season. And their defense has been incredible through 2 weeks. So I do have the Packers winning this game. I think the impact is going to be Josh Jacobs. I'm still waiting for him to have his massive game. I know Cleveland's Brown defense played pretty well against Derrick Henry last week, but I think the Packers will be able to get things going smoother in this game. And even if not, this is a passing offense that the Packers have that even without Jaden Reed is going to be just fine. They're going to be able to move the ball down the field really effectively. So I have the Packers winning. Next up, an AFC South clash as the Indianapolis Colts travel to the Tennessee Titans. The Colts are 3.5 point favorites in this game. And you want to talk about teams that have had fantastic starts this season. The Colts are right there up on that list. They have still yet to punt this season. Their offense is high flying, is going really well. Tyler Warren has been a nice piece to all of that. Their defense has been playing well also. They're going against a Tennessee team that has had a close loss to Denver, then kind of got an awakening against the Rams. But I still think this is a Tennessee team that can play close and keep games close. The question is just, can they close them out? I'm not fully sure. Part of me is still waiting on this Colts team to get a reality check of their own. I don't think it will be this week. I have the Indianapolis Colts winning. And Daniel Jones is going to keep riding this hot hand as long as he can. I think Tennessee is an opponent that might give the Colts some type of a scare, but not a massive one like a big blowout loss would be for the Colts. So I do have the Colts winning this game. The Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to the Minnesota Vikings this week. And this is a battle of injured teams. The Vikings are dealing with their own fair shake of injuries. Aaron Jones was recently placed on IR. JJ McCarthy has already been ruled out for this game. He will not be playing. It's Carson Wentz getting the start. Meanwhile, Cincy, they are dealing with that injury to Joe Burrow. He's going to be out a minimum of 3 months. He is expected to be back before season's end, which means the goal for Cincy is to just survive. And to me, surviving is getting 5 wins in their next 12 games, and that is very doable with Jake Browning leading the way. He is a very capable backup quarterback, and especially for Cincy, he has shown that he's able to lead this team to win games. It also does help that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are still healthy. So I have the Bengals winning this game. I think we're not really going to see them miss too much of a beat with Burrow being out. Obviously, there's going to be some hindrance to the play on offense, but this is the Bengals offense that is built to win games, even without Burrow out there. It's just when he is, the offense looks a whole of a lot better, but they're still going to be able to put up 20 plus points. Minnesota's offense, even with JJ McCarthy, has been a sluggish offense to begin this season. I'm not sure how much Carson Wentz is going to help that. but losing Aaron Jones also does not help. So we have the Bengals winning this game. The Pittsburgh Steelers are traveling to the New England Patriots this week. The Steelers are 1.5 point favorites in this game. And the Steelers are coming off of a pretty bad loss to Seattle. The offense definitely took a step back from what they showed in week one. The defense is continuing to show some cracks in it. Definitely not as good of a defense as some people thought they were going to be early on in this season, but there's a chance that they can awaken towards the back half of it. This New England team that had a pretty close loss against the Raiders in week one, had a pretty close win against Miami last week, and it was a win in which the offense played really well and the special teams came up big. New England, definitely an interesting team for the rest of the season. I do still have the Steelers winning this game. I think Aaron Rodgers and this offense is going to bounce back after that rough performance. I think this is potentially the week where we see that defense find a rhythm, as I'm still not too high on that Patriots offensive line. It has played decently well this season, but going against Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, that's a very tough front seven to go against, and it's going to show the cracks in that offensive line. And this week, so I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning. The Los Angeles Rams are traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles this week, and the Eagles are 3.5 point favorites in this game. And this is a very interesting game to me. The last time these two teams played, it was in the NFC divisional round, and the Rams nearly walked into Philly and eliminated the Eagles before their Super Bowl run could even happen. So with that, this is the Rams team that I feel like got better from last year. The front seven on defense is only going to improve. It's still a young unit. As they get more experience, they're going to be better. The offense with Devontae Adams being thrown in there does seem like a better offense. They played a lot better against Tennessee last week than they did against the Texans in week one. But at the same time, there's still an Eagles defense that has shown through 2 weeks to be a really good defensive unit, and an Eagles offense that has shown that they can still run the ball how they want to. The passing game, kind of hit or miss through 2 weeks, but I think they'll be able to right the ship. This is a tough one. I have the Eagles on my note sheet here, but I think I'm going to change that. I'm going to pick the Rams to win this game. I just think they're the more complete team at this point in the season. I am second guessing a little bit because of that Eagles passing game on offense. This is going to be a very close game and a very tightly contested game. I'm picking the Rams, but it's a very, very tight one. The New York Jets are going south as they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. The Buccaneers are 6.5 point favorites in this one. Now, as of this current moment, I do not know the status of Justin Fields, and that does throw a wrinkle into things. Justin Fields, when he's leading this offense, it does make it a better unit than when Tyrod Taylor's leading the way. So this is still an offense that I'm not all too high on. It's just when Justin Fields is in, they have more wrinkles they can play with. Meanwhile, Tampa, they've had back-to-back really tightly contested games, and they're finding ways to win in them. Baker Mayfield might be my favorite quarterback to watch, or at least in the top 5 of NFL quarterbacks. He is so much fun to watch. This Tampa team is so much fun to watch every single Sunday. It is very tough for me to root against them, so I'm not going to. I'm picking the Buccaneers to win this game. Their defense has been great this season. The offense with Baker Mayfield continues to be solid. Would like to see a little bit more of a complete game, as most of their games has been. Hey, Baker Mayfield has 2 to 3 touchdowns, but under 200 yards. Kind of a mixed bag, but for the most part, I like how they're playing. The ground game has continued to be really well this season. We just saw James Cook go off on this Jets defense. So I'm going to expect Bucky Irvin and Rashard White to do something similar. So give me the Buccaneers. The Las Vegas Raiders are traveling to the nation's capital as they play the Commanders this week. The Commanders are 3.5 point favorites in this game. The Raiders are a team that intrigues me the rest of this way. It feels like they're in this weird gap year as a team, not quite in the rebuild just yet, trying to hold on to some type of momentum. The first week was a solid win against the Patriots. Geno Smith played well. Ground game kind of struggled, but the defense was solid. Last week against the Chargers, the passing game looked nothing similar to what it did against the Patriots. Ashton Jeanty got a bit more involved, and the defense is continuing to play some solid football. Washington had a really good win against the Giants in week one and had a pretty tough loss to the Packers in week two. As a whole, though, this Commanders team is just leaving me with questions at this point in the season. I'm waiting for them to give me a proper game plan in place, as the first 2 weeks didn't really look similar offensively. And especially against the Packers, they did some offensive stuff that left me questioning quite a bit. I do still have them winning this game. I think when they have the pieces going, they are a fantastic team. And even with Jaden Daniels kind of not really using his legs through 2 weeks the same way I thought he was going to, I think there is a chance for him to use them a bit more in this game. As Justin Herbert had a pretty solid showing with his legs against this Raiders team last week, Jaden Daniels is going to be doing a lot more than that in this one. So I do have the Commanders winning this game. The Atlanta Falcons are traveling to the Carolina Panthers this week. The Falcons are 4.5-point favorites in this game. The Falcons had a tough loss to the Buccaneers in week 1, came down to the wire, then had a okay win against the Vikings. I say okay because even though it was a 16-point win, the offense wasted so many opportunities throughout that game that it leaves me with some questions surrounding them. But at the same time, it is an offense that has clearly shown that they can definitely score points and move the ball effectively. They just need to be able to finish drives. Well, Carolina is a team that throughout this season has played some close games. They've nearly had a good comeback against Arizona last week, but they're still a team that has started slow and being forced to pick up the pace later in games. And I feel like this is a Falcons team that you can't really do that with because their defense is going to make you pay for that. The offense is going to be able to kill clock and waste time while still being able to move the ball down the field effectively and result in points on the drive, even if not a touchdown. I do have the Falcons winning this game. It very easily could be a close and tightly contested game, and Carolina might be there to cause a little bit of concern. But I think at the end of the day, Atlanta has a team that can pretty confidently say they can close out a game if needed against a team of the caliber that the Panthers are at this moment in time. So I have the Falcons winning this game. The Houston Texans are traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. The Jaguars are favored by 1.5 in this game. And Houston's schedule to begin the season has been very tough. Playing against two pretty much guaranteed playoff teams this year, and they lose both of those games that were fairly tightly contested. Against the Buccaneers, they blew that game in the final 2 minutes when they had the lead. It was a very rough start to this season, but they're still showing me that they have the pieces in place for at least offensively to have a good year. They just need to put them all together. Defensively, it is there. Their defense has been playing really well. The offense is what needs to come together. And part of it is the offensive line is definitely having the biggest weak point on this team. The Jaguars, good win against Carolina in week 1, a game that Trevor Etienne demolished. He ran fantastically well in. Trevor Lawrence, a little bit shaky on the year. He has 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions and just about 400, maybe 500 yards. It's a pretty okay start to the year for Trevor Lawrence, but I need him to get more consistent. Because my thing is, when the later on in the season comes around, he's going to be the guy that needs to step up and put this team over the hump. Trevor Etienne, for as good as he is running the ball right now, I'm not sure how sustainable that is for this Jaguars team that has shown in the past to not be a great team when it comes to the ground game over long periods of time. So with that, I have the Texans winning this game. I think they're the more complete team. I think they're the better team. I think they'll get the pieces forming in a proper picture in this game. And this is the start of where we see the Texans go on a little bit of a run here. So I do have the Texans winning. To begin the 4 o'clock slate, the Denver Broncos are traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. This is going to be a fantastic game. The Chargers are 2.5-point favorites in this. They're 2-0 on the season, haven't been playing really well, both offensively and defensively. They're looking like a really, really good team this year. And Justin Herbert leading the way. He is playing really well. The ground game had a pretty solid showing in week 1, questionable showing in week 2 against the Raiders defense. But for the most part, I still like what their potential can be. The Broncos, pretty questionable win in week 1 against the Titans. The offense struggled at times in that game, played pretty rough, but you got the win nonetheless. Then the offense showed up pretty nicely against Indianapolis, and the defense played fine enough and should have been enough to win that game, but you had that bad call against you. So where do I stand with this game? I'm picking the Broncos to win, but I think it will be a really, really close game. I just think the Broncos defense, especially up front, is going to be able to take advantage of the fact that the Chargers are without Rashawn Slater this season. That's a piece that's not really been taken advantage of yet by some teams, but this Broncos front seven is a really, really good front seven. And the offense, we know it can take advantage of any weak point you have on your defense. J.K. Dobbins has been playing well this season. I'm still waiting for R.J. Harvey to kind of hit the scene in this one in this season. Kind of did in week one, but I'm truly waiting for him to have one of those big games that I know he can have. And then Bo Nix is throwing the ball pretty well. We'll like to kind of tone down the interceptions a bit, but for the most part, I like how he's playing. So give me the Broncos to win. The New Orleans Saints are traveling to the Seattle Seahawks this week. The Seahawks are 7-point favorites in this game. No one really expected New Orleans to be good this season, and they're living up to that expectations, being 0-2. Two pretty rough losses, though, to Arizona and to San Francisco. This is their third NFC West team they're playing to begin this season, which is kind of insane to me, but whatever. This is going to be an interesting game. New Orleans is a team that are looking towards the future, trying to figure out what pieces they have on the current day. Seattle, they just paid Sam Darnold all this money, and he's been playing fine to begin this year. Kind of a rough showing against San Francisco, about 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions against the Steelers last week. Kenneth Walker, he ran the ball well, just over 100 yards last week. But I'm picking the Seahawks to win this game. But it's not really because of that offense. It's more so because of that defense. It was a defense that entering the season I was really high on for Seattle. It was a defensive unit that I loved, and they're living up to the height even with guys being out. And there's a few names that are potentially going to be back in the lineup this week. So if they are, and this defense can take another step in the right direction of being an even better defensive unit, it's going to be a very tough defense to score against. And New Orleans does not have an offense to be able to score against it to the extent they would need to. So I'm picking the Seahawks to win this game. The Dallas Cowboys are traveling to the Chicago Bears this week, and Chicago finds themselves as a 1.5 favorites in this game. And this is a very interesting one. Dallas's offense this season has been pretty solid, and their defense has been pretty much non-existent. Chicago's a team this year that they've had their moments, but they've had more moments against them so far in this year, especially that Detroit game last week was a very, very tough showing across the board. So Dallas had that very tight win in overtime against the Giants last week. They put up 40 points, but their defense gave up 37. I do still have Dallas winning this game. And yes, in Chicago, it's tough to kick there. Brandon Aubrey might not be his usual self, going insane. But at the same time, this is a Dallas offense that was able to move the ball really effectively and put themselves in positions to put points up on the board. Chicago still needs to find their footing this season. It could happen this week against that Dallas defense. So this game, I think, could definitely be a close one, could be high scoring. At the end of the day, I'm picking the Cowboys to win, as I just think that they are a team that is currently built in a more complete way, while Chicago, with that first-year head coach Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams still trying to find a good relationship and a good chemistry and play calls that work consistently, it's going to take them a little bit longer. I have the Cowboys winning. The Arizona Cardinals are traveling to the San Francisco 49ers this week. The Niners are a 1.5 favorites in this one. From what I can tell, Mac Jones is still in line to start this week, which he played well against New Orleans, but this is a different team they're going against. Arizona is a tier above the Saints in pretty much every facet of the game. And San Francisco, their defense is still playing well. Their offense played well last week. How are they going to play this week? CMC is still good to go, it seems. George Kittle is out, though. So it's going to be interesting to see how San Francisco plays in this one. Arizona, they're playing fine this season. Need a little bit more consistency out of them. Was a rough showing against Carolina at moments last week. And then they had that game against the Saints to begin the season that also had their rough spots. I am picking the Cardinals to win this game, though. I think that because of health reasons, that they're going to be just fine. And defensively, I think they're going to be able to play Mac Jones tougher than the Saints were able to last week. And if they're able to get him off his rhythm a little bit, it's going to give them an advantage in this game. But this is still one of those games that I really don't have a firm stand on. But either way, I'm picking the Cardinals to win. Sunday night football, the Kansas City Chiefs are traveling to the New York Giants. The Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites in this game. And this is going to be an interesting one, I guess. The Giants offense played incredibly well last week against that Cowboys defense, putting up 37 points, quite a few fantastic touchdown passes from Russ to Malik Neighbors. That touchdown at the very end of regulation was a great catch by Neighbors. And this is a Giants offense that, if you give it an inch, could take a yard under the right circumstances. Meanwhile, Kansas City, their defense is still playing really well this year. It is the offense that has kind of cost them in both of these games. I think they'll bounce back. I think this is the week 2 bounce back. Their schedule leading up towards the bye is not an easy schedule. They need to find the wins where they can. This is one of those weeks. I'm picking the Chiefs to win. But this game, 5.5, we might see the Giants cover. It's gonna be one of those games where we really don't know the feel of it until about the halftime, I think. But even then, with that, I think the Chiefs have the talent and they still have a little bit of my faith in them to be able to work out some of those kinks that they have. So thus, I'm picking the Chiefs to win. Monday Night Football. The Detroit Lions are traveling to the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are 5.5-point favorites, and this is game of the week. This is game of the week. This is going to be the best game of the week. There's quite a few things being tested in this one. The biggest to me is that Ravens defense. They played terribly against Buffalo on Sunday Night Football to begin the season, but they played really well against Cleveland last week. So which version of the Ravens defense is the true Ravens defense? Is it a complete of a mess against high-powered offenses like it was against Buffalo? Or are there a defense that can lock down when needed to and make big plays when they need to? Or is it somewhere in between? This game, I feel, will be able to tell us exactly that. On the flip side, this Lions offense, is it this high-powered offense that we knew from last year and that we saw last week against Chicago? Or is it an offense that struggles against really good teams in the same way that it did against the Packers in week 1? I think the Ravens defense, you have no questions on there on if they're going to be a good Ravens offense. You have no questions on if they're going to be a high-powered unit. And this Lions defense, I feel pretty confident in saying is a top 10 unit in the league. So it's the Lions offense and the Ravens defense, and we're going to get questions answered in this game. I think the answer is going to be this Lions offense is just that good. I am picking the Lions to win. I don't see the world where Baltimore will win this game if it's a shootout, and I feel like that's the direction this is going to go. This Ravens defense did not look good against the Bills, and yes, this Lions team does not have a Josh Allen, but they have a David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And where this Lions team does have an advantage over the Buffalo Bills offense is their receiver room. So with that, I think this offense is going to be having a fantastic game, and I think that will win this game for the Lions. Well, there you have it. My thoughts for week 3 of the NFL season. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.